Have you ever wondered why, after certain conversations, interactions, or even just being in certain spaces, you feel heavier, more exhausted, like something invisible was taken from you? It's not your imagination, it's not weakness, it's the subtle theft of your life force, the unseen energy that sustains your spirit, your clarity, your vitality. And most people have no idea it's happening. They only feel the slow erosion of themselves over time until one day they wake up and barely recognize the soul staring back at them in the mirror. What you are about to hear could be the turning point that brings you back home to yourself. You see, the world is full of unspoken transactions. Some people give energy, others take it. Some relationships nourish your spirit, others siphon it for their own survival. And if you don't know how to protect your energy, if you don't learn to recognize the subtle ways it gets drained, you will spend your life running on empty, wondering why no amount of sleep, no amount of vacations, no amount of self-care ever truly refills you. The truth is, your energy is your most sacred possession. It is the currency of your soul, and whether you realize it or not, you are spending it every moment of every day. Every yes you offer from a place of guilt. Every conversation you have out of obligation instead of love. Every situation you stay in just to keep the peace. Every moment you betray your own boundaries to avoid disappointing someone else. These are all withdrawals from the bank of your spirit. And eventually, there's a cost you can no longer ignore. Your peace, your joy, your sense of who you are. But here's the good news. Awareness is the beginning of reclamation. Once you see the pattern, once you recognize the leaks, you can start sealing them. You can start reclaiming the pieces of yourself you've been giving away too cheaply. And when you do, something incredible happens. Your energy stops scattering. It condenses, it strengthens, it begins to radiate in ways that others can feel, even before you speak. You become less available to the noise, the chaos, the projections of those who once fed on your openness. You become magnetic, but not because you're trying, simply because you exist in your own field of truth, undisturbed. It starts with a simple shift. Stop apologizing for protecting your energy. Stop feeling guilty for needing space, silence, solitude. Stop explaining yourself to those who benefit from your exhaustion. You were not born to be a utility. You were not put here to run yourself ragged for the comfort of others. You were born to live, fully and fiercely, in alignment with your own soul. And yet, the forces that drain you don't always wear obvious masks. They come cloaked in familiarity. The friend who always needs saving, the family member who calls only to unload their chaos, the workplace that demands loyalty without reciprocity. These dynamics thrive not because you are weak, but because you were conditioned to equate love with sacrifice, service with self-abandonment. Somewhere along the line, you were taught that to be good meant to be endlessly available, even if it cost you your own well-being. But here's the radical truth. Real love does not require your depletion. Real connection does not demand that you silence your own needs to meet someone else's. In fact, every time you betray yourself for the sake of keeping a connection, you reinforce the very dynamic that drains you. You teach others, and yourself, that your energy is negotiable, expendable, endless. And it is not. Imagine if you treated your energy like a sacred fire. Would you let just anyone toss sticks into it, demanding more and more light without ever tending the flame? Would you keep burning just to keep them warm, even as your own fire grew dim? You would guard it, you would feed it, you would sit close to it in reverence, knowing that without it, you are lost. Your life force is not a limitless resource. Every act of kindness, every gesture of patience, every moment of presence, these are offerings from your sacred fire. And when you give them to those who do not honor them, you are not being generous. You are being depleted. There is a difference, and learning that difference is one of the most powerful awakenings you will ever have. From today forward, let it be known, your energy is not up for grabs. Your time is not a subscription others can renew at will. Your soul is not a vending machine for emotional validation. You get to choose where your energy flows. You get to decide who has access to the deepest parts of you. And you do not owe anyone access simply because they expect it. The moment you realize that saying no is not cruelty, but self-respect, everything changes. The moment you understand that stepping back is not abandonment, but self-preservation, the spell breaks. The illusion that you must always be available, always be rescuing, always be proving your worth, it shatters. And in the silence that follows, your true power begins to rise. Because when you protect your energy, you protect your vision, your creativity, your health, your joy. When you protect your energy, you make room for your own soul to expand. And when your soul expands, the world around you cannot help but change. So the next time you feel that familiar tug, the one that says just one more favor, just one more conversation, just one more sacrifice, pause. Ask yourself, am I giving from overflow or from depletion? Am I offering my energy freely, or am I being manipulated into surrendering it? Choose wisely, because every decision you make about your energy is a decision about the life you are building. And you are not here to build a life of burnout, resentment, and invisible exhaustion. You are here to build a life that feels like freedom. Most people don't realize the silent agreements they enter into, the ways they trade their peace for acceptance, their clarity for approval, their vitality for proximity. It's subtle at first. You answer one late-night call because you don't want them to feel alone. You pick up the emotional pieces again and again because you're afraid they'll fall apart without you. You soften your own needs, your own boundaries, because you don't want to seem selfish. And slowly, without noticing, you become the emotional sponge for everyone else's chaos. But here's the reality. People will take as much energy from you as you are willing to give. Not because they are malicious, but because energy seeks the path of least resistance. If you are endlessly open, endlessly available, endlessly forgiving, you become the path. You become the reservoir they dip into without ever asking, is there enough left for you? You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you do not respect your own limits, no one else will either. If you do not honor your own soul, you cannot expect others to value it for you. This is why learning to say no, firmly, without guilt, without endless explanation, is one of the greatest acts of self-love. Not every invitation deserves your presence. Not every emergency is your responsibility to fix. Not every wounded soul is your burden to carry. You are not the universal caretaker. You are not the endless giver. You are a sovereign being with a finite amount of energy, and you must learn to guard it as fiercely as you would guard your own life. Because in truth, your energy is your life. Every person you allow into your sacred space brings either nourishment or depletion. Every conversation either feeds your spirit or drains it. Every environment you linger in either expands your life force or siphons it away. Begin to notice the patterns. Pay attention to how you feel after being around certain people, certain places. Do you feel lighter, clearer, more connected to yourself? Or do you feel heavier, anxious, fragmented? Your body knows before your mind catches up. Trust it. There is no virtue in staying in spaces that diminish you. There is no nobility in sacrificing your well-being for the comfort of others. You do not need to justify your withdrawal. You do not owe anyone your constant emotional labor. You are allowed to outgrow relationships that require you to shrink yourself. You are allowed to walk away from dynamics that keep you locked in cycles of depletion. You are allowed to protect your life force as if it were sacred. Because it is. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who move through the world with a quiet strength, a natural magnetism. They are not scattered. They are not overextended. They are focused, intentional, selective. Their energy is concentrated, directed, purposeful. They are not running around trying to save everyone, trying to prove their worth through endless giving. They know their value does not come from how much they sacrifice, but from how firmly they stand in their own truth. And here's the paradox. The more you protect your energy, the more powerful you become. The less available you are to nonsense, the more attractive your presence becomes. Not because you are trying to be distant, but because you have become rare. In a world where so many are leaking energy through endless distraction, endless validation seeking, endless emotional chaos, to be someone who is self-contained, self-respecting, self-sourced is revolutionary. It shifts the entire dynamic. People who once pulled at you with neediness will either rise to meet you in your new frequency, or they will fall away, revealing the truth that was always there. They were never truly connected to you, only to your utility. And that truth, painful as it may be, is your liberation. Because what you want, what you deserve, is not to be needed. It is to be seen, to be valued, not for what you can do for others, but for who you are when you are simply being. That level of connection can only happen when you stop offering yourself in pieces, stop fragmenting your soul to fit into spaces that cannot hold your full truth. There will be grief, there will be loneliness. There will be moments when you question whether the cost of protecting your energy is too high. But stay the course, because on the other side of that shedding is the life you were always meant to live, the relationships you were always meant to have, the peace that feels so natural you'll wonder how you ever tolerated anything less, and most importantly, the self-respect that no one can ever take from you again. Protect your life force like your future depends on it, because it does. There's a reason why the most magnetic people you meet feel different, almost untouchable. It's not their looks, it's not their money, it's not even their confidence, it's their energy field. They aren't easily accessible, they aren't endlessly explaining themselves, they aren't leaking their power into every meaningless interaction. They have standards for their time, their attention, their heart, and those standards are non-negotiable. This is the secret few will tell you. Protecting your energy is what builds your aura. It's what makes you luminous, unshakable, memorable. Because every boundary you hold, every no you honor, every moment you choose solitude over drama, every time you walk away instead of over-explaining, you are feeding your own life force instead of bleeding it out. And the more you feed your own energy field, the more people feel it before you ever speak. You walk into a room and people sense something they can't explain. A fullness, a richness of being. They respect you without even knowing why. They listen to you without you raising your voice. They admire you without you needing to perform. But it doesn't start with them. It starts with you. You cannot demand that others respect your energy if you are constantly disrespecting it yourself. You cannot expect loyalty from people when you are disloyal to your own intuition. You cannot expect the world to honor your soul if you keep abandoning it in the name of being liked. This is the hard truth. Most of the energy drains in your life aren't accidents. They are the inevitable result of agreements you've made, consciously or unconsciously. The agreement to always be available, the agreement to always say yes, the agreement to fix problems you didn't create, the agreement to maintain peace at the expense of your own well-being. And as painful as it is to realize, what you allow is what continues. But here's the liberating part. The moment you withdraw that agreement, everything changes. The dynamics that depended on your exhaustion collapse. The people who only valued you for your emotional labor reveal themselves. The patterns that kept you stuck lose their hold. And what's left? A wide, sacred, terrifying, beautiful space. The space where your real life begins. Because when you are no longer enslaved by the need to please, when you are no longer addicted to being needed, when you are no longer terrified of disappointing people who only love the convenience of you, you are free. Free to choose relationships based on resonance, not desperation. Free to pursue dreams that once felt too selfish to name. Free to honor your own needs without apology. And yes, this freedom will cost you. It will cost you the illusions that once kept you safe. It will cost you the approval of people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. It will cost you the comfort of playing small, but the price of staying trapped is far greater. It's the slow, silent death of your spirit. It's the ache of knowing you betrayed yourself in the name of belonging. It's the regret of waking up one day and realizing you built a life that pleases everyone, except the one person who has to live it, you. So choose your price carefully. Either you disappoint others by choosing yourself, or you disappoint yourself by choosing others. Either way, Someone will be disappointed. Make sure it's not you. You don't rebuild your energy field by being louder. You rebuild it by being wiser with what you give and to whom. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone should sit at your table. Not every hand extended deserves to be grasped. Because energy is not just something you feel, it's something you transmit. Every time you pour into someone who only takes, you weaken your own field. Every time you chase someone who is indifferent, you leak your own magnetism. Every time you explain yourself to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you, you give away sacred ground that was never meant to be bargained with. And when you do it long enough, you start to forget. Forget your own value. Forget your own center. Forget the silent power of simply being whole. Because here's the devastating truth. Energy flows to where attention goes. And every time you obsess over why someone doesn't respect you, why they don't see you, why they don't value you, you are pouring your precious life force into a void that will never return it. The void doesn't heal you. The void doesn't build you. The void just hungers for more. So you have to stop feeding it. You have to stop believing that one more explanation, one more act of service, one more sacrifice will finally make someone see you. You were never meant to beg for connection. You were never meant to earn your place in someone's life through exhaustion. You were never meant to sacrifice your own soul just to be tolerated. The real ones, the ones who are capable of love, respect, mutuality, they don't need you to perform. They don't need you to explain. They don't need you to prove your worth with endless giving. They just see you. And until you reclaim your energy from those who can't, until you stop auditioning for people who were never meant to be your audience, you'll stay trapped in a cycle that will never feed you. But here's the miracle. The moment you pull your energy back, the moment you stop leaking it into dead-end dynamics, you become magnetic again. The right people feel you. The right opportunities align. The right doors open. Not because you forced them, not because you proved yourself worthy, but because your energy finally became clear again, unobstructed by desperation, free of old wounds, radiating from a place of truth instead of need. You don't find alignment by chasing it, you find it by becoming it. You don't magnetize abundance, love, peace, or power by grasping. You magnetize them by being the version of you who no longer needs to grasp. By standing still, by knowing your worth without needing it reflected back, by recognizing that your very existence, aligned and undiluted, is the most powerful energy you could ever emit. This is why pulling back isn't about revenge. It's about realignment. It's not about making others miss you. It's about making sure you no longer miss yourself. It's not about punishment. It's about purification. You are not here to carry others at the expense of yourself. You are not here to endlessly explain, justify, prove, or perform. You are here to embody your own life force, fully, freely, without apology. And the ones who are meant to walk with you, the ones whose energy matches your healing, your growth, your truth, they will not require you to shrink, chase, or explain. They will recognize you, because they have done the work to recognize themselves. And together, you will build something that doesn't cost you your soul to sustain. So from this moment forward, let your energy be expensive. Let your attention be precious. Let your presence be earned, not assumed, because you are not cheap. You are not disposable. You are not available on demand. You are sacred space. You are rare frequency. You are life force itself, wrapped in skin, walking this earth with a mission that cannot afford to be wasted. Protect it. Honor it. Become it. Because when you do, you won't just feel powerful, you will be power. And the world will shift around you, not because you demanded it, but because you finally remembered who you are. The most dangerous drain on your life force isn't always loud. It's not the obvious conflict, the big betrayal, or the overt insult. It's the slow, quiet leaks you barely notice. It's the friend who only calls to complain. It's the job that asks for just a little more every day until you forget what weekends feel like. It's the conversation that leaves you doubting yourself instead of feeling seen. It's the subtle, unspoken contracts you signed without realizing, the ones where your worth was traded for peace, your time traded for obligation, your energy traded for belonging. Tiny fractures in your boundaries, tiny abandonments of your truth, until one day you look around and realize you've built a life that doesn't even feel like yours anymore. And the tragedy is, you didn't even notice it happening, because you were busy surviving, busy being needed, busy earning love the only way you were ever taught, by giving more than you had. But now something in you refuses to do it anymore. You're tired. Not just tired like you need a nap. Soul tired. Tired of explaining yourself. Tired of proving yourself. Tired of justifying why your no is sacred. Tired of handing out pieces of yourself like candy at a parade and wondering why you feel so empty. And if you're feeling that exhaustion deep in your bones, let me tell you something clearly. You are not broken. You are awakening. Awakening to the truth that your energy is not infinite. Awakening to the sacredness of your own nervous system. Awakening to the violent cost of constantly abandoning yourself for acceptance. Awakening to the quiet power of becoming selective, strategic, discerning with your presence. Because presence is power. And the more you leak it to people, places, habits, and patterns that cannot honor it, the less you have to build the life you're here to create. Every yes to what drains you is a no to what could nourish you. Every minute spent maintaining false peace is a minute stolen from your real expansion. Every ounce of energy invested in convincing someone of your worth is energy ripped from the mission you were born to fulfill. And you don't get that energy back. You don't get that time back. You don't get that version of yourself back unless you reclaim it. Now, by deciding that your peace is not up for negotiation, your energy is not available for discount. Your soul is not here to be consumed by those who refuse to feed themselves. It's not selfish to protect your life force. It's spiritual maturity. It's remembering that you are not the savior. You are the sanctuary. You are not the bridge for others to cross while you drown underneath. You are the mountain rising steady and unshakable. And those who are meant for you will rise to meet you there, or they will fall away. Let them. You are not here to carry anyone who chooses to stay asleep. You are not here to explain your boundaries to those committed to disrespecting them. You are not here to audition for love in rooms your soul is begging you to leave. You are here to remember what it feels like to live from fullness instead of depletion. To remember that your softness is sacred, but not for everyone. To remember that your silence is not emptiness, it's recalibration. To remember that your withdrawal is not weakness, it's wisdom. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to step back without explaining. You are allowed to protect your energy without apology. You are allowed to outgrow people, habits, mindsets, entire versions of yourself that were built on survival and scarcity. And you are allowed to do it without guilt. Guilt is the old program trying to keep you small, compliant, exhausted. Guilt is the voice of your conditioning, not the voice of your soul. Your soul speaks in freedom. Your soul speaks in peace. Your soul speaks in expansion, in clarity, in strength that doesn't need to be proven, only embodied. So if they call you selfish for choosing yourself, so be it. If they call you changed, distant, cold, bless them and keep walking. You owe no one access to you just because they had it once. Access to your energy is a privilege, not a right. And it is a privilege that must now be earned, not through words, not through promises, through actions, through alignment, through reciprocity, through respect. Let the dead connections fall away. Let the one-sided conversations go unanswered. Let the invitations to old dynamics be met with silence. Let the spaces where your soul shrinks collapse into the void they created. You are not here to be accessible to everyone. You are here to be available to yourself first. And from that full, powerful place, you will naturally attract the people, the opportunities, the experiences that were always meant for you. Not because you chased them, but because you finally stopped chasing. You finally became the frequency you were born to embody. You finally realized you were never meant to beg for a seat at anyone's table. You were meant to build your own, carve it from the bones of your own becoming, light it with the fire of your own truth, and invite only those who come with hands full of their own energy, their own self-responsibility, their own love. Because you are no longer giving discounts on your sacredness. You are no longer negotiating your soul's worth. You are no longer accessible for draining dynamics, old patterns, outdated versions of yourself that survived by shrinking. You are only accessible for the life you were always meant to live, the one rooted in fullness, freedom, and fierce self-respect. The one where your energy is protected like the sacred, powerful force it is. The one where you don't just exist, you radiate, and the world feels you, the real you, at last.